Let's also look at the human element here, Mr. Ravi. I mean, when we look at it, your logistics partners are still transporting a product that might be considered hazardous when they're moving it around. So, from a driver training, from a safety and welfare program perspective, what are the things that the industry ecosystem has come up with or is supporting in conjunction with logistics partners?
Here, for the drivers who come with the trucks to fill and then take the product out, these drivers have been trained well by us. Only trained drivers come into our location. It's not that we give them training once. We keep on training them once. I mean, every year also refreshers they do undergo number of times, so they are conversant with it. Second, as I told you, since the health of the people is important, the drivers are also equally important. We have gone in for bottom loading, not just in term, it increases the efficiency, but when you fill petrol, diesel, there's a lot of vapor generation. That vapor generation reduces drastically by this bottom loading, and then we have got the vapor recovery system. So the health of the drivers is being taken care of. Third, we mandatorily do health checks for all these drivers, including eyesight, and we also help them, we aid them. We have insurance schemes, which takes care of not just the driver but also his family. This Bharat Petroleum has tied up with the insurance companies, and we take care of the insurance of these people for their health. The short distance commercial vehicles are increasing day by day. So for that community, health is important. Financial inclusion is important. BPCL, Bharat Petroleum is playing a very big role in terms of engaging with these communities. We are helping them. We have tied up with medical institutions so that this community of short distance vehicles is taken care of. Financial inclusion, we have partnered with Fino Payment Bank and banking services at their doorstep or at the retail outlet. They can come do all their banking transactions at Bharat Petroleum retail outlets. So we are proud to say that we are not just Bharat Petroleum bunk. I mean, in Tamil they say Bharat Petrol bunk. Petrol pump ko bunk bolte hain. So we have now converted that to Bharat Petroleum banks.
Mr. Sitapati, you have some comments to add here.
Yeah, I would like to add. As far as Tata Motors is concerned, driver is not only important stakeholder, he's like demigod for us. He's an influencer. He can go and tell the fleet owner that ye gaadi nahi chahiye. Then that's bad news for us. So we have invested a lot into developing them. There are 5 levels. One is we have dozens of driver training schools where you teach them the basic driving. Second is you teach them how to drive the vehicle safe, which is more relevant to POL, what we are talking about today. You have to drive the truck safely, how effectively to use the brake, how to drive the truck economically. So that is the second level, and these courses are repeated for the same person again and again. Third one is introducing them to the advent of technology, how to leverage the fleet edge, how to look at the driver monitoring system, how to leverage all the active safety features that are given into the vehicle. So this is the third level of driver training. The fourth one is the drona level of training. In the sense, you will have to create a drona. Anybody who held the steering wheel for a few thousand kilometers, they all think that they are Arjunas. So nobody else can coach them. So only a drona can coach them. So we create drona level of driver training. So that's how we are trying to evolve with the
So
system.
there are various levels of ye dil mange more.
Yeah.
All right. Getting down to the brass tacks again, when it comes to cost optimization and fleet efficiency, that will always be key for logistics players. So let's focus the conversation more towards that, Mr. Sitapati. Now, in case of the POL segment, special care is required, especially when it comes to the storage and maintenance of the product that they're transporting. So, what are some of the innovations and customizations that the industry has come about?
As Ravi touched upon, the fleet edge, the electronic tracing, what we are given, it is not just track and trace. It is much beyond that. It talks about the fuel efficiency. It talks about the driver behavior. Is he fast accelerating? Is he accelerating fast and braking quite often? Is he changing gears in the right manner? Every data is available in order to improve the performance of the vehicle as well as to reduce the downtime of the vehicle. Going forward, along with the evolution of BS6 and RD, Real Driving Emission Phase 2, which is going to come into being from 1st April 23, there is a lot more which is being introduced electronically, including prognostics, which will study the wear and tear of some of the clutch plates or brake shoes and then tell that, hey, listen, before it breaks down itself, you need to visit the workshop so that you will avoid an accident. Or a driver monitoring system, which will be looking into the eyes of the driver, and if he is dozing, it will give a beep and vibrate his seat so that majority, as you all may be knowing, 58% of the accidents that are happening on the express highways is because of the driver fatigue who slept on the wheels. So this all will be avoided. So we are going to leverage the technology in order to support the industry for safe movement of petroleum, oil and lubricants, which are explosives on the road.
All right, let's take the conversation up a gear, and I'll bring in Mr. Ravi for this. A lot of government measures have taken place, whether it's GST, e-bill, Bharatmala, logistic efficient enhancement program, Make in India, lots of developments in the logistics space. So what kind of an impact has it had on the industry, and how has it helped you in the transition journey to a digital and sort of green provider?
The e-way bills particularly has considerably reduced those time which used to be spent at the check post, 2 hours, 3 hours, sometimes even a day or two. So it has cut down on the time taken for the transportation of the goods. These dedicated freight corridors are going to be a completely different set of ball game. So here they are going to be access controlled with limited places where they are going to stop. So like we at Bharat Petroleum, we had pioneered this concept called as the one-stop trucker shop, wherein for the trucker at one place, all what he requires, personal solution, journey solution, the business solution is available at one single place. So similar kind of facilities are going to be set up along this dedicated freight corridors. These change in the way the program, this LEAP, the Bharatmalas and the e-way bills and the GSTs, this is bringing in a completely different digital world, which is also emerging in the transportation industry. Our retail outlets are now geared up. We have introduced technology in a very big way. I would like to also share with you, we have come out with an initiative called as U-Fill, wherein the fueling is completely controlled by the owner of the vehicle wherever he is going to be seated, because 55 to 60% of the fuel, the cost of the transportation is fuel. So we have given the complete control to the transporter so that they they can completely monitor, control, and ensure that what they want is actually being delivered.
All right, and development of alternate fuels has also received a lot of policy attention. So what steps are you taking with an eye on the future to not just benefit the customer but the entire sort of POL ecosystem?
First is in terms of liquid fuels, as I told you that biofuels is coming in. So ethanol for petrol has happened and it is going to grow. As far as diesel is concerned, work is happening on bringing in the biodiesel component of it. So that would also help. Second, as I told, gas is going to be the transition fuel. So we are building LNG stations. Third, as far as the EV is concerned, currently the passenger segment is witnessing a massive growth in the EV. Thanks to Tata Motors leading all the way. About, I think, 5 to 7,000 passenger vehicles are being sold per month, which are EV today in the country, and Tata Motors share is, I think, by far the largest. So now to support this electrification, this EV industry, so we have set up fast charging corridor. We call it as fast charging corridor. So city A to city B. So we don't talk of just charging infrastructure. We provide complete solution because we know when the break is taken by the EV owner, he doesn't want just charging. He wants charging plus resting plus something to eat, some fuel for himself, food for himself. So we are coming up with this sort of a concept, and this is going to get proliferated. But then this is for the passenger segment. But simultaneously, we are also preparing, we are also gearing up, and we are also working closely with the auto majors, so that if anything emerges on the trucking side, we are very much present there. We will help in ensuring that this need for the transportation segment is also taken care of.
All right.
Thank you, Ravi.
All right. So, Chetan, let me bring you in. Considering all the massive transformations which are coming about, going to come about in the fuel distribution space, how does the industry ecosystem continue to remain agile and look at scaling up exponentially? What are some of the do's and don'ts you would suggest?
So today we are seeing, means if 5 years back we just knew two fuels, petrol and diesel. Today we are knowing multiple amount of fuels, and every house, my house has an EV, petrol, CNG and diesel, right? Now from where the entire distribution channel is going to come? Like, let us say today about electric. My sister, when she wants to buy an electric car, she was asking infrastructure, means will there be a charger? So that's when a very power shift will be with the phygital model, which you rightly said. One will be physical, one will be mobile. So while LNG, we are working on an LNG technology where we will directly come and fill LNG at your doorstep for your truckers, right? Because there will be a need for a physical station also and mobile station also. That's what we are trying to make a phygital world together.
Make a phygital world together. That's something, the retailers have been saying it. They went back to digital, now they're back to phygital. So it's always a game of finding the right mix. But I guess for the logistics sector, I mean, it makes sense what you are saying. But let's also understand, what is it going to take to reach there? Because a lot of the players in the ecosystem, they still are legacy based. So for them to kind of being brought into the 21st century with a wide variety of fuels, wide variety of models, wide variety of vehicles in service of them, what's going to be required in your opinion, Gaurav? And what will take them there? Especially from the financing aspect, that's going to be a key part.
It all boils down to financing actually. I mean 65% of your cost is your diesel. So how that can be optimized, if there is a if there is a cost arbitrage, the shift will happen. If there is no cost arbitrage, shift will not happen. No matter how much all of us may keep discussing here and all the industries may keep trying, we need to ensure that at the end of the day, there is value for that trucker who's making most of his money out of trying to save every paisa worth of fuel.
Well, they say show me the money, but in this case it could be show me the green, and green can have many connotations. Mr. Ravi, as we look to conclude the discussion, what are your expectations from logistics partners, especially when it comes to, say, cost management and other things?
We as oil industry, because we have a large reach, we can reach the customers well. We are ready to invest, and all we require is the support from the government, so that it also makes commercial, like Gaurav said, it also needs to make commercial sense to us to actually be there. So that is the one part. And the second part is, yes, we will work with all the logistics partners. We are very keen to work with them. As the energy transition happens, we will work with them, we will stand by them. Very recently, we have come across a demand from the logistics partners telling that, can you give me the CNG route from city A to city B? So now we have worked on that from Bharat Petroleum, and we will be providing them where could be we will do the route planning for them. So this is the kind of partnership which we will enter into, so that different forms of energy can be utilized by the logistics providers.
Well, we have run out of time. On that note, it's time to wrap up this special conversation around trucking into the future. And the future indeed does look bright. It looks green. And I sincerely hope more positive developments come in. As Mr. Sitapati said, watch this space for the next 3-4 years. On that note, thank you so much to all the leaders on the panel for sharing with us their insights. Thank you very much.
Tata Motors presents Trucking into the Future in partnership with News 18.